Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you might be joining us from. My name is Arise Michael Godfrey, and I'm your friend. And I want to welcome you specially to the podcast, the weekly podcast on the keys and the laws of academic excellence. All right. We're going to be having a very beautiful podcast today. All right. If you're joining us for the very first time, let me remind you that this podcast is dedicated in helping you and also the global student community identify and apply the laws, all right, and the keys for academic excellence, all right. And this is very important, across the many research I've done over time, you know, as one who has been in the student community for a long time now, whenever I carry out a research on why students are underperforming or why they have, the continually experience an average performance in the academics, I was able to sample out some findings, all right, of which one of them, shows that many students don't know the keys or the laws for academic excellence. So there's a void of knowledge, there's an outburst of ignorance in their day-to-day activity. All right. So this podcast is really, committed in helping you, all right, and also in helping the rest of the global student community identify the laws. But of course, having identified the laws, you then begin to engage and apply them. All right. And as you do, you begin to experience, a tremendous shift in your academic performance. All right. So, for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about we've been talking about setting academic goals. All right. And I've always maintained that there is no academic growth without academic goals. All right. So, in the last section, the first week of this very podcast, I did explain the concept of setting goals, all right. And the second week, I thought about the importance of setting goals. Today, I'm going to take it further a little bit, all right. And we're, of course, going to continue on this same path, setting academic goals. But today, I want to be specific. So, I want to show and walk you through how you can set academic goals. All right. So, by the way, whenever I get to talk about setting academic goals and and the related concepts and the idea around it, many people think, oh, that is going to be very hard, right? Already they just find a way of many students find a way of building, a mountain hill or an avalanche in their head, and they're like, I'm not sure I can do that. I think that's very hard. But hey, hello, this is something very simple. All right, you can do this, right? You can do this. Very simple, very easy to understand. And I'm going to be taking my time to just walk you through it so you really understand what we are doing. All right, but I needed to just buttress a few points from our last section. Now, now that you understand that academic goals is an important step an excellent student must take. All right, I did share with you last week that this is one of the important, or last 2 weeks rather, that the concept of academic goals really do connote that it is, one of the many important steps an excellent student must take, all right, in becoming an excellent student, all right. And of course, I made you understand that growth is not automatic, but failure is, all right. You have to plan for growth at any area of your life or in any area of your life, and your academics is no exception. If you want to grow in a specific area of your life, you have to have a goal in that very area, right? And now your academic specifically is, that area of your life you don't want to joke with, because I can assure you, I know sometimes we find a way of, prioritizing other things above our academics, but at this moment where you still wear the badge of being called, you wear the badge of honor of being called a student. One of the most important areas of your life you should pay more attention to is your academics. All right, your academics. All right. So, if you want to grow daring in that very area, you must be deliberate and strategic about growing, right? Because growth, academic growth, is not automatic. You don't wake up one morning and find out, oh, my GPA has changed, all right? Or you don't get to wake up one morning and find out, oh my, my CGPA has changed from 3.0. Oh, I'm now in 5.0. No, It doesn't happen that way. It's not automatic. But what we know and what we consider as automatic is academic failure. I also help you to understand that academic goals gives your performance or give your academic performance a direction. And I always love to share the illustration of having a destination and a goal in mind. All right. So just to give you, a practical example. So yesterday I traveled all the way from Nasarawa State to Enugu or G River local government, Enugu State. Now, when we set out for the journey, we had a specific goal in mind. All right, the goal, we had a destination in mind. The destination is to arrive in Oju River, Enugu State. All right, and the goal was to go you know, um, Enugu State. All right, and now, because we had a goal, it was easy to give our destination a direction. It was easy to give the goal a direction. So we now know, okay, if you're going to Enugu, this is the route you should take. All right, this is where you should follow, this is where you shouldn't follow, and the rest of that. In that same vein, your academics also experience this direction. All right, you also experience this guide whenever you set an academic goal. Also, they tell you that there's no academic growth without academic goal. Of course, this is really the thesis. This is really the central idea behind this very podcast on setting academic goals. Growth never happens without goals. All right. And lastly, I did tell you that students with academic goals are always top of the ladder. Find a student who has a relevant academic goals. All right, a relevant academic goal. You will find a student who will consistently top the department, top the unit, top the faculty, and even the school. It happens that way. And we have very few students who are setting goals. All right. We have less than 25% of the student community who are really intentional about goal setting. All right. So with all of this being said, and with all of this understanding you now have, the big question I believe will be running through your mind is, how do I now set a goal? All right, how do I set a goal? Having understood academic goals is an important step, all right, an excellent step. Having understood that academic growth is not automatic, what is automatic is failure. Having understood that academic goal gives your academic performance a direction. Having also, in addition, understood that no academic growth without academic goals. And lastly, that only students with academic goals will top the department. How then can I set an academic goal? Can you walk me through the path of setting academic goal already? And I believe that should be the big question running through your mind. And this is my focus for tonight. All right, this is my focus for tonight. Now, remember from my definition of academic goal, all right, I told you that, academic goals centers around these five areas. All right, it centers around your score per CA, all right, because you need a score, you need a goal, you need to set a goal for your score per CA. CA then means continuous assessment, all right, because that's where your evaluation process really start from. All right, you understand? It really starts from your CA, your continuous assessment. All right, if you even look at the word continuous assessment, assessment already give you an idea that you're being evaluated. Now, continuous tells you that it's frequent. All right, so the frequency, all right, is it's more frequent because you won't have exams every now and then. Exams is already scheduled at, exam is the last, evaluation process you have to go through in a given semester or in a given section. All right, it all begins with your continuous assessment, your attendance, all right, and that happens regularly. All right, your test and your assignment. All right, so it begins with your score per CA, goes on with your grade per course, your GPA per semester, your CGPA per section, and eventually your class of honor at the end of your program. So I want to now help you understand that you don't have an academic goal if you don't select or write it down. If you remember from my definition, I did put something in brackets. And what I placed in the bracket was, two things, selecting and writing it down. This is to show you that you go to your goals. And how do you go to them? You write it down, you select. It's a careful selection process. It's a careful process that involves you writing your specific desired grade down, your specific desired score per CA down, your specific desired GPA per semester and CGPA per section down, and eventually your class of honor down. Now, this is where I don't want you to get. I've seen a whole lot of students, and when you ask them, "Oh, tell me about your academic performance," and they get to start dreaming, and it's beautiful. It's good to dream, all right. But I bet you, dreaming never translates to actions. Wishing rather never translate to significant action. So I get some people say, "Hey, I wish my academic performance is just 3.5." No, you don't have to wish. You can make that happen. And the process of making it happen begins with setting an intentional goal. All right. I've heard others say, "Oh, I just wish others get all A's in my 9 courses." Now that is a possibility. You can have a parallel of 9. It's a possibility. All right. It's not unusual to have such a fit. All right. It's not unusual to have such, excellent performance. What is unusual is to wish your way through it. So the gap that separates you from achieving your academic performance, or the gap that separates you from achieving or experiencing an excellent academic performance, is the place of writing your goal down and being intentional about it. And this is something I know. When you have written your goal down, or you've made a selection of your goal, which is also written down, all right, something happens to your attitude. The written goal begins to change your attitude. It serves as a catalyst that begins to change your attitude. So you've said, "Wow, I want to be a first class student." Immediately, if you wish, "Oh, I wish to be a first class student," the action and the motion are not there. Anybody can wish. But when you write it down, "I am a first class student." All right, you put your CGPA and everything I'm going to be teaching you there. It transforms your mind. All right, it transforms your mind. It gives you a renewed attitude. So now, that attitude is what begins to change your academic performance, because nothing change until your attitude change, until you begin to make action. And action are not just born out of baseless motion or unthoughtful motion. Action actually succeed on the grounds of attitude. That, wow, I now have a renewed attitude to know that, as an excellent student, I should be studying. As an excellent student, I should focus on the 20% that gives me 80%, the 20% activities that gives me 80% significant contribution, that makes 80% significant contribution to my academics. I should be able to select my friend wisely. Do you understand now? Right? So that attitude is what will give you, the ability, or is what will inherently change your academic performance over time. So what I want to do now is to show you how you can write it down using this four-step process. All right, it's very simple. So I want to show you how you can begin to write your goals down, all right, using this four-step process. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit detailed. Wherever you don't get, or wherever you really don't understand me, all right, I need you to just write your question down. Next week, we're going to be taking questions, all right? We're going to be taking questions next week, and I'm going to be providing answers and giving you more clarity. And I have some goal setting templates I will be distributing next week. So don't miss the section next week. All right. So this four-step process is very easy, and it begins with writing down your class of degree or your class of honor. Now, why did you have to write it down? You have to be specific about what you want. All right. There's the law of specificity. All right. Going for what you want. All right. You have to be very specific. Saying, "I want to be an excellent student" is good, but might be vague. All right. What class defines an excellent student? What class of honor defines an excellent student? Now, this is very important that you start from here. When you start from here, the rest of the other things you'll be doing, you find them a little bit easier. All right. Because this is like the zenith of whatever you want to achieve. All right, so let me walk you through that. In writing out your class of degree, it's very important for you to look through what class of honor you have from your grading system. All right, now when you look at the first day, you see that there is a first class. All right, you see that there's a second class upper, you see that there's a third, there's a second class lower, and you see that there's a third class. So let me give CGPAs to all of these. Now, when you write down your class of degree, first class, you should understand that third class within the Nigerian grading system, and permit me, this is not specifically to the Nigerian student, this is to the global student community. So I'm just using the Nigerian educational background or context or grading system as as a standpoint. All right, you could translate this using your own specific grading system you have available in your country. All right, so first class in Nigeria, it's a CGPA of 4.50 to 5.00. That makes up first class, 4.50 to 5.00. Now, the second class begins from 3.50, all right, to 4.49. 3.50 to 4.49. You see, this first two class is what I believe, should be termed an excellent class of honor. Now, if you find yourself around second class lower, it then means you are within the region of um, you're within the region of 3.00 to 3.49. 3.00 to 3.49 CGPA. Okay. And in another podcast series coming up in the year, I'm going to be helping you understand the law of evaluation, how you can calculate your CGPA, your GPA, your grade points, and the rest of that. Okay. Okay, because evaluation is very beautiful and very important. So now, when you find yourself anything lower than 3.00, anything lower than 3.00. All right. Anything lower than 3.00 is a third class. Okay. So 4.50 to 5.00 is the first class. 3.50 to 4.49 is second class upper. All right. 3.00 to 3.49 is second class lower. Anything below that is a third class. Okay. Now, this is very important. So you now know what you're writing down. Okay. It's important so you know what you are writing down. All right. So that is the first step. All right, that's the first step. Now, let me give you the second step. You need to now set a GPA goal per semester and a CGPA per section. Remember when I was showing you, walking you through the first class, I attached the CGPA just for you to know that writing or selecting a class of honor is beautiful, but you have underlying or underpinning, goals you have to hit to arrive at your choosing um, class of honor. So, for example, for you to hit the first class, like I said, you have to hit the 4.50. Now, you need to maintain at least the 4.50 GPA, all right? So you can always meet a 4.50 CGPA. If you feel, oh, I want to be a second class upper student, and I don't wish you should be shooting for that when you can shoot for more. The thing around first class is very easy if you set your mind about it. And when you apply the laws and the keys of academic excellence I've continually given to you, it's very simple. I was speaking to a group of students the other time, I think that was in 2023, and I looked at them and I said, listen, the things I'm currently sharing with you, if I had known half of them while I schooled or while I was in my 100 days level or my 100 level, as an undergraduate student, I would shoot for the stars. If there's any class of honor higher than first class, or if there will be, I'm very sure I would attain it because these keys and this law are irrefutable. They would always work. All right. Back to what I was saying. You set your goal for the class of honor. You have to follow that up with a goal for your GPA per semester and your CGPA per section because eventually this is what will cumulatively sum up will be calculated to give you your class of honor. So if you find yourself around 3.50, GPA consistently 3.50 first semester, 3.60 second semester, you're bound to experience a CGPA or have a CGPA around the 3.50, the range of 3.50. Same for 2.50 GPA, right? It will produce you over time, cumulatively, right? Produce you a 2.50 GPA. And I hope you know it is your GPA per section that is calculated to arrive at your class of honor. So if you have 4.50 CGPA first year, 4.50 CGPA second year, you are likely to be a first class student, because by the time we sum that up, oh, I can't wait to teach you the law of evaluation. By the time you've summed all of that up, you find out that wow, you're within the corridors, or not just within the corridors, you're firmly within the position of rising as a first class. So whatever your class of honor is, you need a GPA goal per semester. In addition, you need a CGPA goal per semester. All right, what is the third thing you need to do? And now this is where many students miss it. All right, this is where many students get to miss it. After setting those two goals, there is an underlying goal you must set to make your journey of reaching your goal seamless, and that is to set a great goal for your specific courses. You need to set a great goal for your specific course, because let me tell you what will translate to your GPA and eventually your CGPA and conclusively your class of honor. It's your grade per course. It's your grade per course that will translate to your GPA per semester. It's your grade per course that will translate to your CGPA per section. All right. And it's your grade per course that will translate to your class of honor eventually. And this is how it happens. Now, let's say you have 5 courses. And I'm going to be using 5 courses because we have 5 range of grades. Now, you have 5 courses. And of course, you know the grading system, all right? It's from A, B, C, D, E. Again, within the Nigeria context, this might be different in your own country educational context or grading context, all right? Or grading system, if you like, right? But again, I'm using this as a standpoint. Okay, I was speaking to a friend in Nairobi Digital University, and I got to understand that, you know, 90 is an A, all right, 80 is a B, and the rest of that. Now this can change over time, or no, all right, or this can be different, in different countries or in different continents or region. But again, this is just for an example using the Nigeria context. Once you get this, the same principle that works here can work and will work within your region regardless of where you are. So let's say we have 5 grades and we have 5 courses. Now, I've identified the grade, the courses, the grade, and the grade points. The grade, the courses that you have is course 1, course 2, course 3, course 4, course 5, all right? For the 5 grade represented. Now, each of these grade has a specific grade point. For A has a grade point of 5. B has a grade point of 4. C has a grade point of 3. And D has a grade point of 2. All right, E doesn't have. All right, now this is it. This is how it works. This is how it works. Imagine you're offering 9 courses or you're offering 5 courses and you have or score an E. Just to show you how this is important. Now, on that course load is 3 units. What you should be calculating now is 5 times 3. 5 times 3 will give you how many? 5 times 3 will give you 15 points. All right, 5 times 3 will give you 15 points. What that means is that for that specific course, because it's a 3 credit unit, you have collected all of the available 15 points. Let's say you have another course and you scored an A again. You've collected all of the 15 points. By the time we begin to calculate 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15, and we now divide that by the total number of courses or by the total number of credits units you have, that is what will produce your GPA. So the higher your grade point, the higher your chances of arriving at excellent GPA per semester. This is why you don't want to take chances. This is why you want to be very intentional. You want to be really intentional, because by the day, at the end of the day, when you begin to get, many students are not scared of CD because C grade or D grade. You know why? They don't know the consequence. So by the time you're a student who is always aiming at the C grade, and you now know that the C grade will only give you 3 points, and your credit unit is about 3 credit unit per course. All right. And now you now have free across your courses. What you've succeeded to collect is only about 9 points. Whereas there is a grade that gives you 15 points. But out of the 15, you choose to settle for 9, meaning you dashed wherever you can dash the remaining 6 points. And those 6 points you've thrown away is so significant in making you an excellent student, so significant in making you arrive at that GPA, so significant in making you arrive at that your desired CGPA, which will in turn translate to your um class of honor eventually. Do you understand how this plays out? So you have to be very intentional. This is why you don't just wish for it. You write it down. You know the direction you're going to. I believe you now know the you now see the weight when I tell you that certain academic goal gives your academics a direction. Now you already know that, wow, I'm shooting or I'm aiming for the A grade. It gives you a direction. It gives you a way you must behave. It gives you a way you must think. You must think as an A student. All right. You must be consistent in applying the keys. It's so beautiful. I can spend all day talking about this, all day. And now, finally, to crown it up, to crown it up, to arrive at your score per course, all right, to arrive at, that place where you eventually collect all the available grade points, all right, within your course, there's something else you must do, and this crowns it up. You must set a goal, a score goal for your CA. See, you know what we translate to these 5 points here? You know what translate to that? It is your CA. Now let me help you. Let me give you a picture to that so you're not confused. Your your examination only accounts for about 70% of your mark. 70% out of 100 marks. And it is almost impossible, all right? Almost, not impossible. I'm using my word very carefully, all right? Almost impossible to score a 70 over 70. What that means is that it's not likely for you to score all the 70 mark or have all the 70 mark to yourself. But what is possible is that you can have 65, you can have 60, you can have 50, you can have 55, as the case may be. Now, what will help improve your 55, your 50, your 57, 60, all right, is your CA. So this is why you have to set a goal for your CA. So let's say you have 5 courses once more. You need to set a goal. What C are you looking at? Are you looking to get at least 30 over 30 in your CA, 25 over 30, 20 over 30, 15 over 30, and 10 over 30? Whichever you choose has a significant effect in the process of you arriving at an A grade. So let's say you have, for example, let me use one course. Course 1. Let's say you have course 1. And in your course 1, in your exams, you scored 55. All right, you scored 55. And in your CA, you have a goal to score at least 25, and eventually you did. Now, 55 plus 25 is 80. And 80 marks, like I showed you, 80 marks over 100 is an A grade. Do you understand? An A grade. In fact, in my book on the keys for academic, the keys for achieving the keys for academic excellence, I outlined there that you see the most easy way or the most easiest place to be is within the 70 to 100 because the margin there is so wide. The margin there is so wide and it can contain you. You fall in 70, it contains you. Fall in 71, it contains you and the rest of that. Do you understand? It's so beautiful. Unlike the other ones, all right, B is from 60, all right, 60 to 69, just a range of 9 marks. Likewise, C from 50 to 59. Likewise, D from 40 to 49. But the A grade is from 70 mark to 100 mark. So there's a wide range. You can fall in between 70 to 100. And whenever you do, you have an A. So imagine you score 20 and you score the 55 in your course. 55 plus 20 is 75, and that's an A. You score 50 and you score 20 in your CA. 50 plus 20, that's 70, that's an A. So that's the most beautiful of achieving your goal. Most beautiful of achieving your goal. Now I know, having walked you through this process, you might be having some challenges. You say, can we test this out already? Can we try this out? Of course we can. So next week section, I don't want you to miss the next week section. Write down your questions, write down areas where you don't really understand what I've shared with you. All right, and we will go through them one by one. I'll also be providing you with a goal sheet so you can download wherever you are. I'll put it up on my YouTube platform. All right, you can download it, click the link, download it, and you can, you know, print it out and write those areas, your class of honor, GPA, CGPA, score, and eventually your CA. Place it on your table, place it on your wall. You get to see it every day, and as you do, it gives you a conscious reminder of the kind of attitude you must have in achieving your goal. All right, my name is Arise Michael Godfrey, and I love you. Until next time, see you, and remain focused and keep identifying and applying the laws and the keys for academic excellence. Take care.